All right, Sean.
Right. Marco.
Sean.
Here we are.
I know. I'm excited.
Somewhere in a room.
Somewhere in a sunny, we don't know what is outside, but Melbourne, I've been told, is the city of the four seasons in a day.
Are you the wonderful wizard?
It is.
Am I the one? No.
Is that true?
It is true. Melbourne
So
has
far, I have to say it is true.
it
I've
is true.
experienced it. Really hot.
Muggy, raining, cold, windy. Yeah.
Well, coming from LA, it's refreshing. You know, it's not boring.
No.
Not boring.
Went from one season to 4 seasons.
Exactly.
Exactly.
When you pack for Melbourne, it's 3 suitcases. No, not really. It's not 3.
I have just one carry-on, which is quite challenging.
Yes, it would be.
But, for a month here. But anyway.
Wow.
We're here for a few days in Melbourne for the AISA Cyber Conference. A lot of great topics, a lot of great folks that we're meeting, one of which is JJ. Thank you so much for taking the time. In 3 sessions you have.
I have 3 sessions.
You're keeping busy.
Yes. There's something like over 500 speakers at the conference this year.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
And a nice amount of participants, attendance.
Absolutely.
So
I think they're looking at over 5,000.
yeah, that's exciting.
Well over, I believe. Yep.
A lot of handshakes. Fist bumps.
That is a lot.
Yeah,
Yes.
a lot of selfies.
Yeah.
We'll have to do one. We should remember to do that.
Exactly.
Yes.
So Sean, I'm gonna take the lead here because I'm excited. This is more in my corner here.
Right.
That's the human element of cybersecurity. So it's the 2 of us. He can participate.
I threw you a bone with this one.
You can participate. You can participate.
Thanks for that.
So I remember the time when I started to be in the industry because of this guy, which has been in the cybersecurity industry for, I don't know, before it was even cool.
Wow.
So that's a long time
That's
ago.
a long
Because now
time.
it's really cool to be in cybersecurity.
You're looking good.
And we were looking at things, and me coming from sociology, political science, I'm like, okay, this is great, but this is not just IT.
No.
And then slowly, but surely, the human element, and that's what the 3 sessions you're presenting are about. So tell us a little bit about you and the sessions.
Well, that's a big question to answer.
I know. You don't have to go that far.
I like to start from when I was hatched.
Born, yes. We won't do that. So yeah, Jacqueline Jayne, JJ. My history or my career into IT and cyber was a little bit different than most. I've worked and worn many hats in different industries and business units, learning about all sorts of things, which helps me, I think, now to understand more that human element and how it relates to cyber and how to actually engage people correctly to understand what's going on. So I found myself that conduit between people and technology. So helping the everyday person understand the challenges that IT face, because they are known as the Department of No, which isn't fair. I've changed that to the Department of KNOW, because they actually do know. And the human side has needs that IT don't seem to quite understand. So there's always this headbutting that occurs. And about 7 years ago, I found myself in a situation to educate people on cybersecurity. I went down quite a rabbit hole and discovered that the human element or the human risk factor is huge. At that time it was around 70%, that was 2017-ish. And now we're at over 90% human error. So things aren't working as we would have hoped, and I think it's because the sophistication of cyber criminals, they've really put the foot down, and we as humans, we respond to the emotional things that cyber criminals do so well. So my focus is to look at 2 sides. What's happening in organisations for that human risk management perspective, with security awareness training, security culture, behaviour change there, as well as the general public who have no idea about these things. Basic cyber hygiene doesn't exist, so I work between both. And my 3 sessions here at Cyber Con, there's one I have today with the wonderful Daisy Wong, who you will be finding more about this later. And we're talking about the skills required for people in organisations to run successful human risk management programs, and cyber and IT aren't on the top 10 list. There's a whole lot of other skills there. And then I have a session on keeping our kids safe online, the ultimate guide for parents. Very topical. Our kids are experiencing all sorts of wonderful and terrible things online. And my third session is actually talking about the paradigm shift from security awareness training and phishing to that culture change and engagement. So as we move through the paradigm to where we are now for human risk management. So a bit about me and what I'm doing here at Cyber Con.
That's great.
Can I ask the first question?
Oh,
yeah, go for it.
I'm going to jump right in. One of the reasons we like to be here is because of the regional, national differences in culture. You mentioned the word culture, which it can be in family culture or business culture, but there's an international culture and differences between regions. How much, and I ask this question first because probably set the stage for everything else you talk about. How much of the global view do you have in terms of kids and online safety, businesses and human risk management, and how culture changes? Are you primarily focused in Australia and APJ, or do you get a view broader?
Good question. It is a global view. There is nothing different. There are nuances, absolutely, within organisations and some countries that might be more compliance-based and more willing to do what they're requested to do. But what I find is the human error, the human element in organisations globally is the same. It's not that there's one country or one area who are doing it better than others. And from the individual point of view with the kids online, even the social media bans that are being talked about at the moment here in Australia, it's global. The same conversations happening in the UK and America and other parts of the world. So the issues are the same. They might have slight differences depending on where you are. And the added complexity is it's global. We're connected, hyperconnectivity. So there's no boundaries, there's no laws that we can put surrounding certain things, because I can talk to anyone at any time, anywhere.
Right.
Yeah. Good question.
And that's something that I like to look at, because we still have a prehistoric brain. We react. When you look at social engineering, is that sense of urgency, like panicking. I mean, I still get excited about the Spanish prisoner letter, right? When I get a letter like that.
So the Nigerian
I have to walk them off.
No, but the point is that, we're still there. We're still playing with emotion, just at a much larger scale.
We are.
Right? And so that letter is not 100 letters, it's thousands and millions, and now we got AI and all of that. So technology is not the excuse anymore. No. I mean, we need to think human.
We do. Interesting story, quick story. There's a tax scam that goes around every year here in Australia. So the Australian Tax Office is our governing body here, and a scam comes out every year on the phone. Recorded message, Australian accent, so it sounds absolutely perfect, telling the person that they've done the wrong thing with their taxes and they're going to be arrested, like there's financial issues.
Panic.
And press 1 to talk to someone. Now, a couple of years ago, I was actually writing an article and going through the transcription of this scam. And I got a phone call, and it was the scam. So my brain knows 100% this is a scam. But the language used, my body had a visceral reaction to that fear. And I sat there thinking, my goodness, this is not about understanding things. This is so much deeper than that. My body was...
It's innate.
I'm going to be arrested. My brain was like, this is a scam.
Even you describing it, I feel a little bit... Seriously, I'm not joking.
It's the natural responses we have as humans, and that's why human error is where it's at, because cyber criminals use that. It was really interesting.
So is it a cultural change that we need to... I mean, do we need to mature into living with technology because it happened a little too quick?
I think I use analogies a lot. And one analogy I used is road safety. When we're little, we are taught road safety based on our experience of the road. So we might be on our little bicycles or the bikes with no wheels, and then we're taught that road safety. As we grow up older, holding hands, crossing the road, we're taught that. It becomes part of what we do. It's sort of a part of our DNA of road safety. And then when we get our license, it's another element we need to learn, and there's always learning and responsibility, and everyone's involved. With cybersecurity and technology as it is, that hasn't happened. It's been really fast. And I think we're 2 generations away from kids coming into the world with parents or carers who can give them that, okay, so we're not giving you a smartphone at a young age, we're giving you a dumb phone, so dumb it's smart, that just does calls and text messages for communication. But at school, we hope you can learn how to be a good digital citizen.
Right.
And we don't have that at the moment. So kids are having issues online, and so are adults. Same problems.
Yeah.
It's an awareness education, needs to be in schools, age appropriate usage for devices, all through university. This is not something you just learn.
And it takes a while. Then you get to the car, but you start with your rollerblades and your bike, and you know, and now you're just like, hey, here,
travel the world.
Take a car, go.
Yeah, well, I have an 18-year-old son, and I did not give him the keys at 16 to the car and say, off you go, drive safe.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
He had to study for his learners, he had to go through the whole process, and you know, that first time driving, I don't know if you can remember that.
I do.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. And he's, I'm never going to get this. And you eventually do.
And they do.
But you still have to look after your car. You still have to think about what you're doing, pay attention.
Mm-hmm.
So
let's talk about that a little bit, thinking, because when you just described kind of you get the feeling. Oftentimes you don't think, and I was doing some trick-or-treating and crossing the street with the kids. It was easy to just cross and not think. And I paused for a moment and said, let's look both ways.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
And it'd be easy to take it for granted that, I don't know why the child would know, but to look both ways, because that's obvious. But I'm just wondering, so are we finding ourselves in a place where we take things for granted, where we think kids will know because they should know, because it makes sense, common sense, and I don't know, just that whole process
what I find is people in the industry, people in IT, technology, cyber, in that space, there's an assumed knowledge that comes with that, and that is not everybody else's assumed knowledge. It just isn't. People don't understand that Microsoft will never call you at home. That should be a given that everyone in this world knows.
Or your bank.
Or your bank. So if you get an incoming bit of communication asking you for personal identifiable information, paying a bill, threatening you with something, that should be a thank you for the call, goodbye. Mm-hmm. It isn't. It's not a habit yet. So I think there's a misconception of what people, general population outside of our world, know about technology and IT. Most of them don't know how to use a printer. And I say that with respect. If you are not in it all the time, I mean, I read the manual that comes with every device. I'm that one person.
When you get the manual.
Yeah.
Because now stuff get without
manual. But I go
manual.
online, download the PDF.
That's right.
And sometimes I'll print it out.
Well, you're definitely a hacking kind of person.
It's just, however, people know that, so they'll ring me and say, hey, how do I do this?
Right. Yeah.
And one thing I say to people for computers is read the screen. It's all just look.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But that curiosity and that element isn't there. Technology and online experience is so unique, and these devices give us access to so much, and our kids inadvertently find things. They're shown things. It's so easy to pick up and just show you something that you're not prepared for.
Yeah.
How do you control that?
Yep.
It's an awareness. It's how do we get kids to become good digital citizens and understand that digital footprint, sharing information. It's there forever. They don't care until they're in their 30s or think, maybe I shouldn't have done this.
Yeah, right.
Because there's no evidence of our time online. That's, you know.
I want to go to, you said, read what's on the screen.
Yeah.
So you mentioned I've been in this space for a long time. When I was building products at Symantec, we actually did a bunch of focus groups for user-centered design and looking at how people, consumers, interacted with antivirus software. Do you alert them? Do you hide the alert? And so I use that as an example often to say the ultimate goal was to inform that they were protected, but not overwhelm them with information so that they have to worry about that. They can get to what they're most interested in working on the computer. I think to some degree that's a disservice. And if we look at just like the smartphone or computers or even cars, a lot of stuff is happening behind the scenes. We have no idea how or why it does it. Is it doing it for us or against us? Are we doing it in a way that it impacts us from a privacy perspective or safety perspective? So there's so much hidden. Not a lot is on the screen or displayed to us anymore. How do we kind of wrangle with that to educate and bring knowledge to be so we're informed so we can make wise decisions versus doing everything for us? And
it's a $64 million question. Although, remember the day of Clippy? Clippy would pop up. Do you need help?
Clippy. Still around?
Yeah. Made a big, at the resurgence of the AI right now. It's hilarious.
I'm a Mac guy, so I don't see it Clippy.
I'm on the Mac now too, and I really do enjoy it. We think about the nudge theory of letting people know, there's a bin around the corner, don't drop your rubbish, for example. So it's like, okay. However, we know not to litter. We know those things. The complexity we have with online safety, and let's think about cybersecurity and emails, which is a big problem. So how does you open that email? How do you know what to do? At the moment, the nudge theory, the nudge of, hey, should you click that? Do you really want to do that? That's one element to look at, whilst at the same time educating people to spot those red flags. We're not at a point where we are with antivirus now. People know they have to have it. Like for me, I have it and I know what it does, and I get prompted, databases are out of date. So that, to me, that's the most important thing. I need to make sure that the databases are up to date. So I will stop what I'm doing and update, because I know that's important. Many people think antivirus will help you with phishing emails too. They don't understand it's only the known stuff, and the updates is the new stuff that's come in. So it's, once people know, they can accept what they have to do. For the cyber for phishing, we're so far away from that. We have to come at it from an education point of view, from a simulated phishing campaigns perspective, to help people understand what they're seeing. Give people example after example to say, is this real or is this potential phishing in a safe environment? Because you can't learn piano without playing it. I can read music, but if I'm not actually on the piano, I can't play. Correct.
Yeah.
Technically you can play, concert level, no. And that's the frustration within the industry. That's what I'm seeing, the perception that we just educate people and say, don't click on suspicious links. But people don't know what a suspicious link is.
Right.
And there's the problem.
Yeah.
So you say, just hover over the link. Do you know how many people will say to me, what does hover over a link mean? And you think, oh, really? But that's the assumed.
The link's this long.
Or it's been shortened.
Right.
Well, it's like you bring the example of music. It's like, just play this chord. And somebody's going to be like, huh?
That's
what do you mean?
That's
right?
The C chord.
But if you're not a musician, if you're not the technology expert, the cybersecurity is not coming like that.
Correct. You need to go back to basics.
And sometimes you need to make mistakes in order to learn, but we don't even allow people to make mistakes unless you run a simulation, because it's too risky. Exactly. I mean, you're getting phished, right? So,
I know a C chord on the trumpet. I know a C chord on the piano. I'm learning the C chord on the guitar. Yeah. And playing certain chords on the
But you need to practice to actually do it,
very
different.
And when you first start, my son plays piano, and he's just sort of learning and transitioning into guitar. And he's Tears from Heaven is something he's playing at the moment. That beginning part where
Eric
it's
Clapton.
really And the first few days, because he's quite talented at playing music, the first few days it was all over the place, and he was getting really frustrated. After a week, that first was just like, but it wasn't like that in the beginning. It's got the rest of the song to learn, for goodness sake, It's, and I think for technology, one thing I say, two things, three things, a lot of things I say. Humans aren't born secure, and we cannot be patched.
Right.
And that's the approach from IT in general. Yeah. We'll just patch them. No. We'll just throw more technology. No. It's the big problem that we have. So it's breaking it down to educate people to be suspicious and cautious all the time. So if you don't expect something in, don't interact with it until you've had a second or third checking point.
Yeah. I think what you said at the beginning, it's kind of like the teaching kids how to behave in the street, on the road. right? You get to a point that when you get to the street, you look left and right. Even if it's a one-way street, you're still going to do it left and right because it's a muscle memory.
And it's different when you come to the other side of the country. You have to switch that around.
Yep.
Because the cars are coming in.
I've been honking in the UK many times.
There you go.
But this, we're going somewhere, I think, and I like to look at a little bit into the future maybe as we start wrapping here, because when you get the alert from the malware, and say, hey, we need to do an update, or you get like the phone is like, yeah, security update, jump on it, do it. I can see how AI that it could help contextualize in an email could become that pop-up and say, this email starting to get suspicious to me. Think about it. I'm not saying it is, just make your decision, but there is an alert.
Absolutely.
So do we look again at, we go back into technology as the easy button, maybe?
It's certainly, well, when AI's been around, like I said, with Clippy, with Grammarly, AI's been around for years.
Yeah.
QR codes have been around for years, but they just went poof over the pandemic. Now, when we think about AI, as much as we are using it for good, cyber criminals are using it for their nefarious activities as well. So when they do things, we do things to try and combat it. The overarching or underlying, whichever way you want to look at it, us as humans, we just need an extra layer of being more aware than ever with the deepfake calls that are happening now, to take someone's voice and ring grandma or auntie and say, look, grandma, I'm in jail, my lawyer needs $5,000, he'll ring you. And it sounds exactly like that person. People need a code word now within their families. So it's the only way to combat it is to say, well, what's the code word?
Do you want it? I'll tell you.
Don't tell me the code word. When that's the difference. But the hardest part is, back to my story before about having that visceral feeling, even if you don't get the code word, it's your grandson or granddaughter you're talking to. And you have to hang up. But then you have to make calls straight away to what's going on. So it's when new things occur, we have to always find ways to combat it. And the difference with cyber is it's something new every day. That's the complexity. Think about work health safety. There's not many new spills that happen that you need to clean up, or like it's a compliance-based reminder. Cyber is all the time. So it's something we need to, like road safety, sun safety, stop, drop and roll with when fires. It's got to be here for people to think, hold on, I shouldn't click, I shouldn't engage, I should hang up, pay attention. It's really challenging for all of us.
I want to take a minute for your opinion. We talked a little bit about this before we started. I heard about this law that they're working on in Australia in terms of like limiting social media to under 16 years old. Your opinion? My opinion. I know you have opinions.
I have an opinion. It's twofold. It's firstly incredibly complex. An issue where there are two sides to this, both of which are right. If we think about parents and families who have unfortunately experienced probably the greatest losses of their lives with their children deciding to end their lives as a result of bullying, that is, you can't argue with that something needs to be done in social media to protect our children and do more in that space. So there's 100% support for the ban on that group, which I respect 100%. The other side of it is our children and our teenagers, our kids are using social media to connect with their whole world. It is everything they do. They don't even text, they message. And we've allowed this to happen as a society. It's not a parent's fault, it's a society issue, where any kid can open an account, 3 or 4, on any social media platform, and no one can stop them. They can say they're 18 or not, because we will find a way around whatever we want to do. Banning something is not the answer. It is certainly a topic that must be discussed, but again, I come back to education and awareness. Teaching kids at school. So we can't fence the ocean, the horses bolted, the gates open, all of the things you could imagine. But we still need to look after the kids who are using social media now, and the children who are coming up to that age group where, usually it's 13, that's the the age, the platforms say you can join. But in my opinion, the kids should not have smartphones until they're 13. There's no need for it. But if we change that tomorrow and took away smartphones from every child under 13, it would be really, really challenging on so many levels. It would cause problems. And there's proven evidence that most kids access mental health information online via social media. So if you're struggling as a kid, no one to talk to, you'll use social media to find all of that. So rather than try and ban, because if it's successful, kids will still find a way around.
Absolutely.
Can you buy me a phone? Can you buy me a phone?
Yeah, it's like buying a drink. Yeah.
Buying a drink, buying cigarettes, vapes are banned here. There's still vaping. It's very complex. Actually, a dear friend of mine said it's a wicked problem because it is so complex. It covers so many different areas. It's intricate. There's no right or wrong. The conversation is now heated up to a point of debate, and it's polarizing. Teenagers themselves aren't being heard, and professionals on both sides of that area aren't getting that equal share of the sound bites, I suppose is the term to call it.
But John, I'm going to let you then finish, but it goes back to the training on the road.
Correct.
If you say you can't do anything in the road, you can't even go on a bike, you can learn slowly,
yes.
And then at 16 you give the keys, like, okay, 16, here's your social media.
Yes, but
you're not. What are you going to do with it? You're not even trained at that point, slowly. So maybe there is a progression.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But you don't give the keys to a 10-year-old to drive the car.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Why not? Well, they're not going to fit on the seat. They can't reach the pedals. It's the
I drove on a farm when I was 10.
I was just about to say, unless you have a farm.
But that helps you to learn.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. So we were going to say this. I was going to say the same exact thing, and I think, I guess the point is that if they're too young, I think there's still some learning that needs to take place.
Absolutely.
But guided. There has to be some guidance.
Yeah.
Yes.
Parents or school or government or some other agency or
it's
organization
everyone's
or
responsibility.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, there are groups that do sports to bring kids, and they're learning life skills while they're playing sports at the Y.
Correct.
Right? That kind of stuff. Which then may switch into, in a digital world, that means people viewing into what's going on, which we then open up the whole can of worms of privacy, and
correct.
Then the whole cultural thing comes back at the beginning.
Yes, yes.
Might work well in Singapore, China, maybe not so much in the States, for example. Fascinating conversation.
It's
Lovely to meet you.
Likewise.
And,
Thank you.
I wish you the best with all your sessions.
Yes, I'll be tired on Thursday.
I know. Well, hopefully you have many more chats with people. I'm sure they'll all rush the stage to get your sticker.
Yeah. Oh yes, the very, very exclusive sticker.
Yep, yeah, I will use that, and we should stay in touch, because this is again a global problem. We're not going to resolve it at an individual level.
No.
And we can all help each other, like achieving something together, and that's why we travel when we can and meet.
I try to ditch them all the time.
Yeah,
it's not working clearly.
No, I found my way, even the day after, but I got here.
You did end up the day after.
Well, thank you so much, JJ. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Everybody else, stay tuned out there. We got so many conversations. She got 3 sessions. We got, I don't know, 15 of these podcasts.
Go to the sessions, say hello.
Absolutely.
And find us, and we have stickers too. So we'll see you soon. Thanks,
Take care, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you, JJ.
Thank you.